Okay, so I took a look at Situationship. Okay, this is the new film from Jade Winters, who wrote and directed the joint. Alex Hodgman produces. Cinematography, we have Hamish Nichols, Solomon Mahmood, and Chris Hasker. Yeah, the listing for this is there's not a lot of information. All right. So our cast, we have got Nikki, played by Helen Laurens. Her gosh, I think it's her sister, Karen, it is her sister Karen, played by Christina Baston. Then there's Jae, right? A friend of Karen's. And Jae is played by Sapphire Brewer-Marchant. And then there's Evie, played by Rosa Armstrong. So the gist of the story, right? It says Situationship is a raw and heartfelt drama that delves into the complexities of love, heartbreak, and unexpected connections. When Nikki moves into her sister's flat for a fresh start, she never expects to fall for Jae, a woman guarding a broken heart. Their journey challenges their views on love, trust, and healing. Watch their story unfold in this emotionally charged film. Right? I think it's easy to write words. It's easy to write words, but that's not necessarily what you're gonna see. Now, I will say, right? Obviously, everyone involved in this worked very hard. You know what I mean? They wanted to put out the best thing they could. This is, I don't know, it's hard to kind of tell. There's some of the films didn't have a time on them, but I think at least this is Jade's second feature. It might be her third or fourth, but she's made a feature before this one, right? So we have all of that. Now, when you look at that synopsis, right, it's talking about the complexities of love, right? Heartbreak and unexpected connections. I'm not sure we necessarily get that here, because I didn't buy the relationship between Nikki and Jae. It just didn't really hold true to me, especially the scene when Nikki's eating pizza. Like, that whole thing was just like, wait, what are we doing? You know? Because it kind of was from nowhere. I mean, there was these attempts to try and be like, oh, will they, won't they? But it all felt a little bit heavy-handed, right? The dialogue is very, it felt like when someone has watched a load of different types of films, right? And they'd be like, oh, I really like that. That's really good. Yeah. And so when trying to create their own situations, they're like, oh, what have I seen before? And just kind of like trying to force a square into a triangle hole, right? It doesn't necessarily fit or suit the characters. You know, just there's a bit at the beginning when you know, Nikki calls her sister and it's like, oh, there's a weird girl in the bed. And she's like, are you sure? And it's just like, none of that conversation felt real. Because it's just like, firstly, you know, if you've, you know, let a friend stay at your place. Right? So going, oh, do you think it's a teddy bear in the bed. Like, it was just all very inane and silly. It just felt unnecessary, right? This wasn't even a long film. It's an hour, right? But you just felt it could have been shorter than that if we just took out some of the nonsense, right? Or I should say what felt to me like nonsense. So you had that one, and then it's just like the oh, I can't drink coffee. Oh, why? Because it wakes me up and I don't want to be a morning person. Like, it was just very weird dialogue, right? That just real people don't talk like this. It's, you wonder how many run throughs on the script there was. Because, yeah, like, you can write things down and go, yes, I just want this kind of situation, boom, boom, boom. But then once you read it through a few times, you're like, that doesn't quite work. Let's give it a little buff, right? Make it feel a bit more natural. Because that's the thing, that these interactions don't necessarily feel natural, And that's what you want. That's what you need from this kind of film, because it's not a big cast, right? It's not a big cast, so you need everyone to be able to deliver. And when we got our cast, like, just the performances, right? And the performance situation is always a tough one, because it kind of depends on what kind of direction were they getting. But you're not seeing the emotion that you need, right? Also, you have that whole, oh, I'm drunk, I am. Oh, I'm so messed up. Oh, my head. And it's just like, it's always very frustrating, because the way a lot of times people are portrayed in films and TV as being drunk, in real life people don't, that's not it, right? That's not it. So it's just very, very jarring, this whole thing. You have a situation going on with Jae, and Nikki's sister knows, and she's just like, oh, I can't tell you. And then later in the film, she basically tells her, but then, well, I can't go into details. And it's just like, I mean, why would you send the thing if you don't want to talk about it? It's very odd, right? It's very odd. But I don't know, like, after the whole Jade Will thing, right? You just think people were like, oh, situationship, that sounds interesting. So then you just saw a load of people trying to use that word. And I think it's a similar thing here. The film didn't need to be called Situationship, because it's not really a situationship, right? It's not. And if you want it to be that, I think you need to finesse the situation. You need to really imbue it with this ambiguity, because that's not what we really see here. Just the whole, oh, can you come to my gig? Oh, I've got a cheese tape. Just like, oh. Yeah, it's just, it doesn't ring true. And I hated the end. I really hated the end. It was just, it felt very rushed, right? It felt very rushed and tried to be all neat and tidy with everything, We have these weird edits in the film. Like, the two glaring incidences are two different scenes in a park and walking across the grass, where you have them like walking towards a bench, or like a bench table, another one. And then in the second one, towards the end of the film, it's walking to a sea where you're walking and then they've cut it and then suddenly they're further along. But it's not that far along. So it's just like, I mean, you could have just let it run. Like, why even throw that weird edit in there? Because it just feels clunky, you know? So, yeah, there's a few weird things going on with this film, you know? So it doesn't, there are other films that I think do a better job portraying relationships and with great dialogue. You know, there's From A to Q, right? Which is fantastic. We've covered that film on the pod. The same with Sweetheart, another one that we've covered, right? Love is a Hand Grenade, you know. You had My First Summer, right? Queen of My Dreams, and the other films from that director, right? Laura and Nora, I think. I don't know, but the director has some great films, you know, just those films. Fantastic. Princess Sid, right? There are these other films that really do a fantastic job of portraying relationships, right? Kajillionaire, right? You have these ones, Heartshot, that show complexity and just all of these different things, these human connection, these interactions. I think they do a better job at that. But again, I am sure that Jade and everyone involved really worked hard on this, really tried their best, and it's gonna work for a lot of people. It will work for a lot of people, you know? It just wasn't what I was hoping for. You know? Wasn't what I was hoping for. But I checked this out on Prime Video, people. You know, if you like, let's try and think, right? Because we have things like, you know, Bridget Jones's Baby, right? Now, I'm not saying it's to the level of that, right? But if you like that kind of film, if you liked Anyone But You, gosh, I think it's Hotel for Cats, right? I mean, we looked at that last year. There's a lot of these other rom-coms that, you know, romantic films, which I feel this is more in line with those, you know. So if you like those films, then you might enjoy Situationship. Okay, as I said, it is out on Prime Video. So yeah, people, Situationship.